Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Rosh HaShanna Chaf Vav. We begin at the Mishnah, which is 8 lines from the top of the Amud. Kol ha-shefaros ksherim, all horns of all animals can be used for Tkiyas Shofar on Rosh HaShanna. Now, although we learned back on Daf Tes Zayin, ideally we're meant to use a ram's horn on Rosh HaShanna to be Mazkir Akedas Yitzchak, where a ram was used instead of Yitzchak. That's the ideal. But, nevertheless, says the Mishnah, really all shefaros are kosher. Now, regarding a non-kosher animal, there's a whole discussion amongst the poskim. The Mishnah Berura brings the Mate Ephraim. If one has no choice, go ahead and use it, blow, but without a bracha, because for mitzvahs, you're meant to use only products of a kosher animal. So they say, go ahead and blow it, but don't do the bracha in this case. Again, kol shefaros ksherim, all shefaros may be used, chutz mishal paro, except for a cow, ox's horn, a cow's horn. That type of horn is not suitable for the mitzvah of shofar, because it's described as a keren, not as a shofar. Interesting. Amar Rabbi Yosi, what do you mean? V'aloi kol shefaros nikru keren. The term keren is used is used to reference all, to describe all horns of all animals. Shenemar, even a ram's horn is called a keren. B'mshech b'keren hayovel. Pasuk speaking about the Bnei Yisrael surrounding Yericho. When they blew their horns, the walls fell down. Over there, it's a yovel. A yovel, the Gemara will say, is a ram. So, how is it called? A keren. Mshech keren hayovel. Apparently, says Rabbi Yosi, the word keren doesn't denote much. All the horns are called shofar, are called keren. It's interchangeable. The terms don't mean much. And therefore, he says, all shofars, even the ones of a para or a shor, can be used. Says the Gemara, it's a good argument. It's a clear pasuk. Shaper kam Rabbi Yosi. It would seem Rabbi Yosi's argument is valid. V'Rabban, what did I do to respond? Kol shefaros ikru keren. You're right. All horns are called keren, are called shofar, v'ikru keren, and also keren. So both terms apply to all horns, except the para. When it comes to the one of a para, of a cow, of an ox, keren ikri, shofar loy ikri. We only find it described as a keren and not as a shofar. Where is this? Let's go to Rashi, off to the right. So typically, ikru keren ikru shofar. Ikru keren k'damar. Every horn, even the ram's horn, is called a keren, as we just brought in the Mishnah. B'mshech b'keren hayovel. Yovel is a ram. So on the one hand, we find the pasuk describing them as a keren, but also the ikru shofar. We find the word shofar used to describe them. And then it says, so you see the word shofar relates to all horns. So you're right, all horns are described as a keren and as a shofar. As opposed to the para, we only find the word keren used to describe the para, and not shofar. Where is that? Let's go back to the Gemara. So we're speaking about the strength of a shar. Clear. The word keren is used to describe the shar. So this is Rabbana responding. Right? True, we found the pasuk. You found the pasuk. That even the ram's horn is called a keren. Yeah, it's called keren and shofar. Both are true. But when it comes to a para, to a shor, it's only keren. Now the Rabban explains that really all horns can be considered, typically can be considered keren and shofar. You see, he says when it grows out of the animal, while it's still attached to the animal, it's called a keren. It's like the corner, like the keren, the corner of the animal. It's protruding, it's growing from the animal, it's his bone. At that point it's keren. But then when you remove it and you pull out the inner bone, which results in a hollowed out shell, that cylinder, that round container, so to speak, is called a shefer, meloshen shifay feres, okay, hollowed out container. So there are really two parts to the shefer. There's the keren and there's the shefer. Right? While it's attached, it's still a keren. You pull out the bone, you have the shefer remaining. So that's what Rabbanan say. Look, every horn, even the ram's horn, can be described as a keren and as a shefer. But apparently the shoyer and the par are different for some reason. Not clear exactly why, but they're more considered like an animal part. They're still regarded as keren all along. Even after you've hollowed them out, they don't assume the new status of a shoyer. They're still closely related to the animal. They're regarded like an animal part, and we still call them keren. Perhaps, as we're going to see later, the para's keren is different than the ram's horn. It develops layers, scales every year. There's another layer added. So even when you remove it from the animal, it still gives that animal part impression. It looks like it's a chelik of the animal. You see the growth. It doesn't look like an independent entity, so to speak. And perhaps that's why the Torah regards it as a keren all along. It doesn't assume the status of shofar and cannot be used for Rosh HaShanna. So this is whose opinion? The Rabbanan. Again, all shofars are called keren and shofar except for the para, which is only regarded as keren and therefore cannot be used for the shofar where you need Rosh HaShanna, where you need a shofar. It says v'avarta shofar teruah. So what does Rabbi Yossi do with this response? Rabbi Yossi, he disagrees. Rabbi Yossi Amar Lach, well, guess what? The par nami ikri shofar. I'll show you that even the cow's horn is called a shofar. This is a drasha. It says in Tehillim, David HaMelech asks Hashem that his tefillah should be so valuable. V'sitav l'Hashem mishoyer par. It should be considered better, higher quality than even a carbon of a shoyer par. Now a shoyer can be used to describe a newborn calf. Par is a 3-year-old. So it's not both together. It's either this or that. Im shur, if you mention the word shur, a young calf. Lama par, why discuss a par which is a 3-year-old? Vim par, if you're discussing a par, lama shur, then why shur? Why both together? So drasha is Ela mai shur par, when he says V'sitav l'Hashem, my tefillah, my tshuva should be valuable, better than a shur par, he put the words together because he meant me shofar. It should have more impact than even a shofar that we blow. So we see that the concept of shofar relates to a shur, right? Because it's in the same pasuk, shur, par, shofar. Says Rabbi Yossi, I found a raya that even the horn of a par or of a shur, same family, one male, one female, is considered a shofar. For Rabban, what do? They use the pasuk for a different drush. K'derab masna, dom rab masna. My shur par. What's the point of joining both words together? David asks Hashem that his tefillah should be more valuable than a shur par. That ox that was born mature, that was created as a mature ox, as though it was a 3-year-old par, that was the one during Sheshis Mebereshis. Shu Gadol Kapar. Chazal tell us that by Sheshis Mebereshis, Hashem created this special ox which Adam Rishon brought as a carbon. In any case, as we learned earlier in Masechta, that all these brios were created mature, as though they were old animals. So that's what he's referring to. A shur, my shur, par shu gadol kapar, which presents as large as a par. In any case, we have no drush any longer to prove Rabbi Yossi's point. The horn of a shur, of a par, is considered a shofar. Okay, so bottom line is, the Chacham say all shofaris have a dual identity, considered keren and shofar, therefore can be used for Rosh HaShanna, as opposed to the para. It's called keren but not shofar. Rabbi Yossi found a pasuk, a drasha, that it is called a shofar as well. Ulo Amar, Hainu time of the Rabbanan. You were wondering what the Rabbanan were doing with Rabbi Yossi's argument, right? It seemed to present a valid argument in the Mishnah. Well, call a shofar is keren keren. So the shaila was, what did Rabbanan do to respond to that? Says Ula, really? There's another point to this machlekes. It's based on another question. Ula Amar Hainu time of the Rabbanan. You know where the Rabbanan are coming from? K'derav Chisda. Damar Chisda. Mipnei ma ein kohen gadol nichnas b'big day love and lifnai lifnim. Why is it that on Yom Kippur we don't find the kohen gadol going in lifnai lifnim, all the way inside in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, wearing his full robe, his shmoyne begadim, including the gold garments? La avoda avoda. Why doesn't he do that? The answer, lafishen kategar, because you can't have a prosecutor. Gold, which is something that reminds Hashem, brings out the zikaron of the Maasa Egel, which was gold, that cannot turn into something which will benefit Klal Yisrael at that point. In kategar, a prosecutor can't nasa sanegar become a defense lawyer. That's why he wears the gold. He leaves the gold begadim outside, doesn't bring them into the Kodesh HaKadoshim to do the avodas kapara on Yom Kippur. And here as well, we're not going to use the horn of an ox, of a parah, which can evoke the memory of the egel. We don't want to do that on Rosh HaShanna. Right? In Katega Nasa Sanega, the egel is a calf of this family. We don't want to use a horn of this family. And Veloy says the Gemara, really? He doesn't wear big day Zov on Yom Kippur to avoid this concern. Va'ikadam par. What about the blood of the par which he's bringing in? That's also a par. Hoil v'ishtani. Once it changes its forms, ishtani it's considered something else, meaning it no longer presents as an animal, it's just a dam. So it doesn't have this effect. Va'ika aron v'kaparis. What about the kalim that are in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the aron, the kaparis, v'kruv, all those made of gold? Choyte bal yakrav kraminen. The concern is that the choyte, the person, human being who's involved in that sin of the egel, he shouldn't be makrav with gold. The fellow who's involved in the chet, he shouldn't bring gold in during the akrava. But just having gold vessels sitting there, that's not a concern. What about the spoon and the shovel that the kohen gadol brings in? They're made of gold. The Gemara speaks about the machta made of gold in Yom Kippur. Kaf, well, a kaf that holds the keteris. We have in Parshas Nasa, kaf achas asora zov malei keteris. So it would appear from the Gemara that it was all gold. How's it bringing in these kalim into the Kodesh HaKadoshim to bring the keteris? The concern is that the choyte, the person who did the chet ha'egel, shouldn't beautify himself with gold, with golden adornments, with big day zav, but just tools for the avodah, that's okay. And Taisa says by the shofar as well, he's being misnoeh, he's showing of presenting this sound, this blow to Hashem, and therefore he shouldn't use a shofar coming from this family. Of Ve'ika big day zav and bachutz. What about the fact that the kohen gadol wears his full garb, including big day zav, when he does the avodah, the azara, the heichel? Why isn't that a concern? Mifnim ka'amrinan. It's only a concern if it's inside in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, which is the ikar makim kapara. But otherwise, there's no concern. Well, if so, shofar namim b'chutzu. Why is it concern with using a cow's horn? It's also outside. It's not in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Kivan de l'zikarnu. Since the point of the shofar to bring out the zikaron, the true essence of Yisrael in front of Hashem, kibifnim dami has the same value and weight as the avodah in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Therefore, we keep away from cows and oxes. So this is the time of the Rabban, why we avoid using the keren of the parah. V'otanav, what do you mean? Take a look at our Mishnah. We don't find this reason. Tana says, you know why you can't use it? Because it's a keren and not a shofar. Not because ein katega nasa saneger. Chada, there's one main reason, the ikar reason, which is the egel concern. V'oid ka'amar. In addition, says the Mishnah, I'll give you another reason. Because of semantics, because we don't find the Torah referring to the cow's horn as a shofar. Chada number one, which is the primary reason, the ein katega nasa saneger. V'oid number two, and this is the one mentioned in the Mishnah, Meshu keren, because it's called a keren. Rabbi Yehuda responds to both reasons. Amr Lachi tells you like this: the Ka'amr is ein katega nas saneka. Regarding the first reason, the prosecutor can turn into a defense counsel. That only applies if it's in the Kodesh HaKadoshim like Yom Kippur. V'hai shofar, this shofar in Rosh HaShanna, v'chutzu, it's outside, no concern. Number two, the Ka'amr is keren. You claim that the horn of a parrot is called only a keren? Kol ha-shofar nami ikru keren. I'll prove to you from a pasuk. All horns are called a keren. So what's the concern with keren? And of course we have a response to that. As we mentioned earlier, the Chacham still pointed out that typically everything has a shofar and keren, but not the para, which is only keren. And Rabbi Yossi responds with the pasuk that it's called shofar as well. So there are really two svaras going back and forth. Are we concerned about in kateger nas sanegar? Yes, no. Number two, is a horn of a cow considered a shofar? Abai Amar, I'll give you another reason for the machlokes. Hainu tamay du rabbanon. Why don't the rabbanon use a cow's horn? Shofar Amar Rachmana. Or according to one gears, shofar echad Amar Rachmana. Pasuk says, blow a shofar on Rosh HaShanna, one single entity. V'lo shnayim u'shloisha shofaros, as opposed to a conglomerate, a combination of 2-3 shofaros. V'hada par, the cow's horns, given the koi guilty, since it presents itself as something with parts, scales, layers. Rashi says every year another layer gets formed. It just grows and grows, and you see the layers forming. It appears like 2-3 shofaros glued together as one. It doesn't give that single entity appearance, and therefore it's not shofar, which can be used for Rosh HaShanna. Is that the reason? V'atana meshu keren kamar. And now Mishnah we see that the Rabbanan don't like it because it's called a keren, not a shofar. How can you say the reason is because they gildy the scales? Chada, there's one main reason, as we mentioned, the gildy, v'oid kamar, and another one in the Mishnah. Chada, number one, the shofar echad amar rachmana v'lo shnayim shloisha shofaros. Number one, we need one single entity, and this doesn't qualify because it's a combined entity. That's the main reason. V'oid, in addition, v'peshu keren. The Torah calls it a keren, not a shofar. Rabbi Yossi Amalach, and what does Rabbi Yossi do to respond? He responds as follows: the Ka'armas shofar echad amar rachmana v'lo shnayim shloisha shofaros. On your claim that the Torah requires one shofar and this doesn't qualify, it's 2-3 pieces together. Well, I disagree. Since it's joined together, chadu, after all, it's one entity. Sure, it appears like it's bunched together, but really it's one single entity and it qualifies. That's number one. The Ka'amras Meshu Keren. Regarding your opinion that it's only called Keren and not Shofar, well, Kol HaShofaros Nami Ikru Keren, typically all Shofaros are called Keren as well. Pasuk says, B'mishayach b'Keren haYovel, even a ram's horn is called a Keren. And of course, we have the rest of the discussion in the Gemara as we learned. That the Rabbanan say, well, all Shofaros are called Keren and Shofar, as opposed to the cow's horn, which is only Keren, not Shofar. Rashi responds, well, there as well, it's referred to as a Shofar. So bottom line is, we have two approaches in our Gemara to the machlokes of Beis and Rabbanan. We have Reb Chizda. The main concern is kateger becoming a sanegar. We have a bias pshat that the main concern is the para's horn is gildy, scales and layers to it. It appears like pieced together rather than one entity. And then we have this second element of their discussion, which is mentioned in our Mishnah, regarding the Shem Keren, which the Rabbanan found to be referring to the para's horn. So the Keren, as Rabban explained, is something which relates more to the animal, looks like an animal part, and therefore it doesn't qualify as a shofar. It's not a shofar entity. Continues the Gemara. So we speak about the word b'msheich b'keren haYovel, that even the yovel, the ram's horn, is called a keren. That was Rabbi Yossi's pasuk in the Mishnah. It says the Gemara in the third wide line, my mashma the haYovel. Lishna de dichru. What do we find? That the word yovel is a reference to a ram, the son Yom Rabbi Kiva. Kshalachti la'arvia, when I went to Arabia, hayu keren l'dichra. They would call a ram with the name Yuvla. Continues the Gemara with several more examples of interpretations of various terms. V'amar Rabbi Kiva, kshalachti leGalia, when I visited Galia, the Aruch says this is in France. Hayu keren l'nida. An Isha of Anida, they would call her Galmuda. An Isha was experienced Nidas, they would call her Galmuda. My Galmuda, what does this mean? It's her acronym. Gumula Dami Bala. She's separate from her husband. Taisa says the nafkamina would be to understand the pasuk in Eiv, which says Ki Adas Chanaf Galmud. So it's referring to the concept of a nida. Vamar Akiva. Shalachti la'Afriki. When I visited Africa, perhaps this was during his first 40 years before he became a Talmud Chacham. Hayikarin lama, they would refer to a ma, a coin, with the word kasita. Very important. L'may nafkamina. Why is it important to know this? The frushi, to understand the pasuk where Yaakov purchased a plot of land outside Shechem, and the pasuk said b'meya kasita. So what is kasita? Meya kasita deraisa. The meya kasita found in the pasuk is now understood. It's referring to coins. Meya donkey, 100 coins. Omer Rebbe Kshalachti l'kar chayam. I visited the cities at the seas, perhaps the islands. Hayikayin l'machira. They would refer to a purchase, to a sale, with the word kira. L'may nafkamina. Why is this important? L'frushi, to understand the pasuk where Yaakov Avinu says, "Look, I want you to bury me in Ma'aretz HaMachpelah, which I was asher karisi li be'eretz Canaan." What does karisi mean? Well, now we know. It means I purchased it from Esav. It's rightfully mine. Amar B'Shim Malakish. Shalachti l'tchum. I went to the area of Kan Ishrayat, this certain area. Hayikairin l'kalo. A kalo would be called Ninfi. That's number one. Number two, l'tarnagol, a rooster, they would call it sechri. Now, l'kalo ninfi, micro. What do we find ninfi relating to a kala? Pasuk describes Yerushalayim as nefei noif, misais koloritz, a beautiful city, beautiful scenery, the joy of the land. So noif refers to something beautiful, and that's the way a kala presents itself. That's why she's called ninfi. Well, the tarnagol sechri was used to describe a rooster. My crow, would we find a hint to this in a pasuk? A sechvi is synonymous with a rooster. Hashem tells Eiv, who inserted wisdom in a person? Mishas betuchais, who put into the smooth limbs, the smooth parts of a person, his kidneys? Chachma, who filled it with wisdom? We know that the kidneys of a person supplying with eitzah, the Gemara Bracha says, klayos yoyatzois. Who did that? Who gave bina to a sechvi? Explains the Gemara. Mishas betuchais chachma. Who put chachma into the tuchais? Elu klayos. These are the kidneys of a person. Who put bina into the sechvi? Is a tarnagal. That's the rooster, who differentiates between night and morning. And actually, in the Rosh and Brachas, the Mishabura brings it, the word sechvi can have a dual meaning, either a rooster or a person's heart. So we thank Hashem for giving us that wisdom that He inserted into our heart, and is also discernible by the rooster, who differentiates between night and day. That's why Chacham were Mesakin to make this bracha as an all-encompassing bracha on a person's wisdom. We relate to the rooster's wisdom, who's mavchen ben yom ben loila. Continues the Gemara. Levi ikla lahu asru. Levi visited this town. Also, Gavar l'kamei. This fellow came running to him with a complaint. Amar Lehi tells him, Kavan Planya. Planya, this fellow did Kavan. He did something to me, Kavan. Now, Levi was not familiar with the local phraseology, local terms. He wasn't sure what this fellow was complaining about. Also, Shol B'Midrasha, so he came into the Beis Medrash and he asked him, Amrlei, Gazlan Planya, that this fellow meant to say that Pliny robbed me. So Kavan means he robbed me. Gazlan Amrloch, that's what he says. This fellow robbed me. Dechsiv Hayikpa Adam Elikim. Pasuk's complaining that Klal Yisrael is not bringing Truma. Can a person rob Hashem of Truma? So Yikpa, Kavan relates to robbing and stealing. Amalei Ravim Mibarnish Rav Ashi. So he tells Rav Ashi, why the bother? He could have figured it out on his own. Yavoy awesome. If I was there and this fellow approaches me, Kavan Planya, so I would have just continued the conversation. I would have said, Haba, I would tell him, really? Kavan Planya? Let me ask you some questions. Heichi Kavach, how did he do it? Ba my Kavach with what? To what extent? Va my Kavach and why? And this fellow would have responded, well, he robbed me $1 million more than night with a gun. On my own, I would have figured out. I would have understood what he was referring to. So why do you have to run to the Beis Medrash? You could have just figured it out. V'iu savar. The reason why Levi didn't do that, because he was concerned that Milsadi Surah Kamali, he was perhaps referring to something inappropriate. Rashi says, I could a rayas with him. So in any case, he didn't want to get into the discussion any further. He just took it to the Beis Medrash to figure it out. Continues the Gemara, Lo Yahavu Yadi Rabbanan my Seirugin. Rabbanan were not familiar with the term Seirugin, mentioned in the Mishnah Megillah. One reads the Megillah, Bis Seirugin is not Yaitze. What does Seirugin mean? Until they overheard Shamua, they heard La'amso de Rebbe, the maidservant in Rebbe's home. She was a learned person, a Talmidas Chachamim. And we find in Gemara, Ma'id Katan, the Chacham give her a lot of respect. In fact, she placed a person in Nidui for hitting his adult son, because he's provoking him, going to cause him to do an Avera. So she put him in Nidui, and the Chacham did not want to remove the Nidui. She was a Chashuva lady. In any case, they always hear her saying, the Chazesinu, she became a Mashgiach here. The Chazesinu, the Rabbanon, she saw the Rabbanon, the Havu Aili Piske, they were coming in bits at a time. They weren't coming in all at once, whether it's the Beis Medrash or whatever. Amr lahu, so she turns to them and she says, Adman sayatem nechnasin sirugin. Until when are you going to be coming in like this, bits and pieces, pairs at a time, instead of all at once? Perhaps they were coming to have their meal there. So she was complaining that they were coming sirugin incrementally. Now we know sirugin means incrementally, and if one reads the Megillah, stop and go, it doesn't work. It has to be continuously from beginning to end without skipping around. Chalugugos is some plants, some vegetables mentioned in context to a zav. It can provoke ziva. Rabbanan were not familiar with this term. What exactly is chalugugos? Once again, they were heard Rebbe's maidservant. She was watching this fellow, the Kamevadar, who was dispersing his parbrachine stuff, his greens or whatever. Amr lei, so she turns to him, Admasa, until when are you going to do this? Atamafaza chalugulugach. Why are you doing this to your chalugulugach? So they figured out exactly which plant is called chalugulugach. Furthermore, le'yaviyadi rabbanon mai salsala usarayim mekah. There's a pasuk in Mishnah. If you get involved and immersed in Torah, the Torah will have such a profound effect on you, it will elevate you. So they were unfamiliar with the term salsala. What is that? One day they overheard Amsad Berebbe. She was admonishing this fellow. She's giving him teichach and musar. This fellow was stroking, combing his hair. She tells him, how much longer are you going to be doing this, pushing around your hair, stalling your hair? So they figured out masalsal means to stroke, to comb. Salsal is remecha. Immerse yourself in Torah, delve into Torah, internalize it, experience it for what it really is, and it will have its profound effect and you elevate you. Rabbanan were unfamiliar with the term metate, used to describe the churban which will befall Bavel. Hashem says, I'll destroy it. What does this mean? Until one day, they overheard the Amsad Rebbe of his Amr l'chaverta. She was the in-house manager. She turned to her fellow cleaning lady and she tells her, Kshkuli tatisa, please grab the broom, v'tati beisa, and sweep the home. Now they figured it out. Tetesia means to sweep b'matati. With a broom, Hashem is going to sweep out, empty out Bavel, make it desolate. Finally, Leihavu Yadi Rabbanon. Rabbanon were unfamiliar with the term Hashlich al Hashem Yehavcha. Pass on to Hashem your Yehavcha. What does Yehavcha mean? V'hu yichalkelecha, Hashem will look after you. What does this mean? Amar Rabba Babrachana. Yoim Achad. One day it so happens that Hava Azlina Ba'adei Ahutay. I was walking alongside this Ishmaeli merchant. Hava Darina Tuna. I was carrying a load. A quite heavy load. V'amarli, and the Ishmaeli turned to me and says, why are you carrying it? Shekoil Yahavech. Take your Yahavech, your load. V'shadeg amloy, and toss it onto my camel. I'm going in the same direction. Why don't you take your load and put it onto my camel? So now the Rabbana figured out the word Yahavcha. Apparently it's referring to a person's load, a person's worries. person's concerns. Hashlech al Hashem yahavcha. Take your concerns and give it over to Hashem, and Hashem will look after it. You're in good hands. Asks the Vilna Gaon. They didn't know the word Yahav until they saw the Ishmaeli over there. So he explains, of course they knew what Yahavcha means. It means a load. They had a suffix regarding the sugya of Hishtadlis versus Bitachon. Right? We know a person has to do something to earn results, to earn Hashem's bracha. Right? It's part of the system. Hashem doesn't just do miracles. We have to do Hishtadlis. Says the Vilna Gaon. Initially, Chachamim figured you have to do something in earnest, a real Hishtadlis, and then you hope for some bracha, for some returns. The answer was no. Take a look at the story. He had a load. He saw a camel. Really, he should have turned to the Ishmaeli, offered him some payment to carry his load. Instead, the Ishmaeli turns around. It was decreed from Hashem that he should help the tzaddik. He turns around to the tzaddik. Hey, come. Let me carry your load for free. So Yahavcha means something which you meant to pay for. Yahav means to give. Something which should have cost him. Instead of him initiating it and paying for it, this fellow, it was decreed from Hashem, this fellow has to help him. So instead of him initiating, the other fellow initiates the conversation. Please, take your load, toss it onto my camel, and let me offer you my services free of charge. Says the Vilna Gaon, that was the lesson that they learned, a profound lesson. In Hishtadlis and Bitachon. Have Bitachon Hashem. A person is meant to be fully dependent on Hashem's ability to deliver. True, we have to do Hishtadlis to mask the bracha. It shouldn't become a miraculous phenomenon. Hashem wants to be master the nest. That's why we have to do the Hishtadlis, the effort. But don't think for a moment, says the Vilna Gaon, that it's your effort which brings about the results. And there's a big difference there in attitude, in extent, and how much a person is going to pay attention to his Hishtadlis. Look, if he's just doing a formality, to be say the chiv of Hishtadlis, and he just says something which can theoretically bring about the results as the Chavis Avos writes. But in no way does he think that this is going to generate the result. It's just to mask the bracha. Instead of it being a nes, it's now going to present itself as something natural. That's all. That's all I have to do. But there's no connection, no relationship between what I'm doing and the result. It's not facilitating the brach or the parnasa or whatever. Hashtech al Hashem yahavcha. Even something which you're meant to do to bring about the results, toss it onto Hashem. It's not even your shtalas that has any connection to the end result. Hashem will account for it. Hashem will comment at you, will take care of you, will look after you. From beginning to end, you have to do just a little bit, so that Hashem's bracha should not come about as a nes. Rather, it should appear like it's derech hatav. Okay, so in summation, which shofar is kosher? Basically everything, except for the para, according to Shitas Chachamim. Why? What's wrong with the para? In kateger nasas haneger, it looks like a couple of pieces put together. Then we have the Tam of the Mishnah. It's called a keren and not a shofar. Rabbi Yossi disagrees. A shofar is not in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Don't worry about kateger. A shofar is a single entity. Don't worry about the 2-3 shofaris. And in fact, I have a pasuk. Even the keren of a shor is called a shofar. We went through a list of various phrases and their translations. Concluded, Hashlach Hashem Yahavcha. Toss your load and your worries up to Hashem, and He will take care of you. Continues the Mishnah. Shofar shel Rosh HaShanna shel Yoel Pashut. The shofar, which we used to blow on Rosh HaShanna, is meant to be ideally from a Yoel. Rashi says a steinbuck. Taisus disagrees. It's a different animal. So whatever it is, but it's supposed to be Pashut, straight, not a curved, bent shofar. That's number one. Upiv mitzupa zav. The mouthpiece, where you place your mouth when you blow that shofar, is meant to be gold-plated. Rashi says this was in the Beis HaMikdash. They had a gold-plated mouthpiece shofar. In addition to the shofar, they had 2 trumpets, one on either side of the shofar. Shofar marich. So initially they all blow together. But then the chatzotzros stop, and the shofar continues longer than the rest. The chatzotzros mekatzros, and the trumpets stop a bit earlier, to highlight that the main element today, the main feature is the shofar. Shemitzvah hayay b'shofar. The primary mitzvah today is not the chatzotzros; it's just the complements. The shofar is the primary, and therefore lasts the longest. So according to the Tanakama, on Rosh HaShanna, it's meant to be a straight shofar. Gemara says, Nisal of Avenu Kapayim, a person is meant to extend himself, connect himself up to Hashem, and that's why the straightness of the shofar is important. Straight, true connection to Hashem. That's Rosh HaShanna. Ubetanius. You see, how many times a year would they use a shofar? Rosh HaShanna. On Yom Kippur of a Yovel of the 58th year, they would blow the shofar as well. And thirdly, during fast days, they would gather everybody together to daven. If it was a drought or some other hardship they were facing. Says the Tanakama, there's a difference in the shape of the shofar. On Rosh HaShanna, and we're going to see soon Yom Kippur as well, which is meant to be the same as Rosh HaShanna, it's going to be a straight, flat shofar, as opposed to Betanias, on days of fast days. Then, Bishal Schorim, you meant to use a ram's horn, kfufen, bent and curved. And the reason is because you meant to show that it's only a derabbanan, it's different than the blowing of Rosh HaShanna Yom Kippur, which is Rais. So it's meant to be a different shape. Bishal Schorim kfufen, upien mitzuba kesef. And instead of the mouthpiece being gold-plated, it's silver-plated. Ushtei chatzotzos be'emtza, you have one shofar on either side of the trumpets, two trumpets in the middle, because the ikar feature today is the chatzotzos. Chatzotzos are there to summon the crowds, bring them together to daven. So the chatzotzos occupy center stage, and you have a shofar on either side to accompany the chatzotzos, and here it's in the reverse. Shofar makatzev, chatzotzos mariches. The shofar blows relatively a short blow. The chatzotzos mariches, the chatzotzos continue their blow. They have sound. They blow their sound past the shofar. Why shemitzvah sayim b'chatzotzos? Because the ikar feature is the chatzotzos. So again, on Rosh HaShanna, and we're going to see soon on Yom Kippur as well of the Yovel, we have a straight shofar. The main feature there is a shofar. So the trumpet's on the sides, the shofar is in the middle, and blows the longest. On Taniyah, it's the other way around. We have a bent, curved shofar to show that it's only the Rabbanon, to set it apart from Tkiyah Shofar on Rosh HaShanna Yom Kippur. And over there, the main elements are the chatzotzos, the trumpets. So they're in the middle, they occupy center stage, the shofar is on either side, and the chatzotzos are mariches, they blow the longest. Concludes the Mishnah, Shabbat HaYovel Rosh HaShanna, L'Tkiyah L'Brachas. The Yom Kippur of the Yovel year is similar, is equated to Rosh HaShanna when it comes to Tkiyah. Right? How many times we blow and what type of shofar we use? A straight, smooth shofar. The brachas, and also regarding the brachas. Just as in Rosh HaShanna we have 7 brachas in our 9 brachas in our Shemona Esrei. We have malchis, rechenis, and shofars. Likewise on Yovel, we do the same thing. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, he disagrees. He flips it around. Rosh HaShanna toikim mishal schorim. On Rosh HaShanna, we're meant to show that we're submitting to Hashem, we're bending to Hashem through tefillah, through Mesiras Nefesh. We want to demonstrate Akidas Yitzchak as well. So it's all about bowing and bending. So therefore he says, Rosh HaShanna toikim mishal zechar. We use the bent, curved ones of the rams. U'b'yovel is b'shal ye'elim. And on Yom Kippur of Yovel, doesn't have to be the same as Rosh HaShanna, so he disagrees on that account. No connection between Rosh HaShanna and Yom Kippur, he can use something else. He meant to use the flat, smooth ones, the straight ones, B'shal Ye'elim, the ones of the Steinbuck ones, the straight ones. Why? Because, what's the point of blowing on Yom Kippur of Yovel? To set the Avadim free. The lands go back to the former owners. Freedom to the masses. Straight, smooth, freedom. Therefore it says, Rabbi Yehuda, on Rosh HaShanna, use the bent one. For tefillah, for tshuva, for hachna. On Yom Kippur, smooth, straight. Freedom to all. So in the Mishnah we have 2 shittas so far. Tanakama, who says Rosh HaShanna, it's straight. Likewise, on Yom Kippur straight, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur go hand in hand. During the Tanis, it's the Rabban, we want to show it's different, then we use a different shape. Rabbi Yehuda holds the other way around. Rosh Hashanah, bent, submissive, curved, kfifa. So it's the ram on Rosh Hashanah. And according to him, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur don't have to be connected. And therefore he says, on Yom Kippur, Rabbi Yehuda will use this straight one to show Cherus freedom. Here comes a third sheet, Amar Levi. Mitzvah shel Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippur b'kfufen. You see, he's going to take an element from the Tanakam. Which element? That Rosh Hashanah and Kippur go together. You can't differentiate. Rashi brings the Gzeira Shava later in the Gemara. So they go hand in hand. So that point he takes from the Tanakam. Right? And what is he going to take from Yehuda? That on Rosh Hashanah, you meant to exhibit kfifas, submission, tshuva, tefillah, hachna. Therefore he says, use a bent, curved shofar. So Amar Levi, mitzvah shel Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippurim b'kfufen. Both Rosh Hashanah and Kippur feature a bent, curved shofar. Shel Kol Hashanah b'pshutin. Regarding fast days, then we do a flat one. We want to show that it's the Rabban, it's different than the other occasions. So again, at this point, you have three shittas. Tanakama says, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur go together, both flat, straight shofaros. According to Yehuda, Rosh Hashanah, a bent shofar. Yom Kippur, a straight shofar. According to Levi, both are bent. Regarding Taniyos, so basically it's the opposite of what you do Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. According to Tanakam, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur is straight, Taniyos is bent, to show that it's the Rabban. According to Levi, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur are bent, so Taniyos use a straight shofar to show that it's Rabban. Now, how could Rabbi Levi say that we use a bent one on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur? About Tanan, haven't we learned in the Mishnah? Shofar Rosh Hashanah Shoyol Pashat. The shofar that we use on Rosh Hashanah is meant to be straight. Hudamakai Tana. He follows Rabbi Yehuda. He took out an element of Rabbi Yehuda's shita, who holds it's meant to be a curved bent shofar. The Sani Rabbi Daimer, but Rosh Hashanah you take and Mishal Schorim, Kfufen, right? If so, why does Rabbi Levi have to introduce his own shita? Why can't he just say, "Look, I'm following Rabbi Yehuda"? V'lema hilchos Rabbi Yehuda. The answer is he didn't really follow Rabbi Yehuda all the way. The Amras halachos Rabbi Yehuda. If he would only say, "We follow Rabbi Yehuda," I would think all the way, bent on Rosh Hashanah and straight on Yom Kippur. We differentiate between one and the other. I feel shel yovel nami Rabbi Yehuda really. He'll follow Rabbi Yehuda even when it comes to a yovel. Right? Rabbi Yehuda is one to differentiate. It doesn't hold that Gzeira Shav, the connection between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. So had Levi only said halach Rabbi Yehuda, we would say all the way, bent on Rosh Hashanah to show tshuva, to show achna, and straight on Yom Kippur to show freedom. He didn't want to say that because he held you can't be machalik between the two. Kamash Malon. That's why Rabbi Levi gets up and says, "Mitzvah shel Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippurim b'kfufen." He had to introduce his own shita because he was making his own new shita. I want bent, but I want bent all the way. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So we really have three shitas. Tanakama says straight all the way. Rabbi Levi says bent all the way. Rabbi Yehuda says Rosh Hashanah bent, Yom Kippur straight. But Micah Miflagi, what's the svaris? What's the background to this machlekes between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda? Mar Savar Rabbi Yehuda holds Rosh Hashanah Kama de Kayif Inish Daite Tzfei Mali. You know, Rosh Hashanah, the more a person presents himself with submission, hachna, he bends himself, the better it is. And therefore, we use a curved shofar to express that sentiment. As opposed to Yom Kippur, Yom Kippurim, Kama de Pashat Inish Daite Tzfei Mali. Yom Kippur, the flatter, the smoother, the better. Freedom to the masses. Let's go over to Rashi, 16 lines from the bottom. On Rosh Hashanah we say, Kama de Kayif Inish Bit Vilasai Panav Kvushan La'aretz. His face down, his body bent. Tvei Adav, that's better. Misham V'hayu Einai V'li Bisham Hilkach Rosh Hashanah D'la Tefillah. It's meant to express Tefillah. Lahaskar Kedes Yitzchak Ba. We need bent, curved. Beinam kfufin. As opposed to yovel, where it's coming to symbolize freedom. V'yovel shein likroi dryer. Freedom to the mass, freedom to the avodim. Beinam pshuta. It needs to be straight, flat, uncomplicated. Ugzero shava lesson. Apparently Rabbi Yehuda does not hold this connection between Rosh HaShanna and Kippur. So Rosh HaShanna is crooked, and Kippur is straight. Continues the Gemara. What about Tanakama? 2 lines from the bottom. Umar Sabra. Tanakama holds just the opposite. But Rosh HaShanna, a different approach. But Rosh HaShanna, kama the pashat inish daitet ve'mali. He holds that Rosh HaShanna, the smoother you are, the flatter you are, the more connected to Hashem you are. Says Rashi 10 lines from the bottom. Interesting, a different approach. Different approach to tefillah. He focuses more on the personal connection between Yisrael and Hashem. Kama the pashat tvei adav, says Rashi. You're lifting your hands to Hashem. It's the connection to Hashem that you're experiencing through the shofar. So is it personal submission? That's what you do. Or is it that connection, the result they're looking for, that connection to Hashem? A straight line up to Hashem. So that's why he holds that in Rosh HaShanna, it's going to be a flat, a straight shofar. And Kippur also have the same because of the Gzeir Shava. And by Tanis, it's only there to sound the alarm, so that everybody comes running and gathers together to daven. Really makes no difference. That's why we do it bend, to show that it's not a Deiraisa, to differentiate between the Tkiris Deiraisa, Shanim Kippur, and the Rabbanon of the Tanis. So we do it we have a different shape. Let's conclude the Gemara on the bottom line. So on Rosh HaShanna, we have a straight shofar. And likewise in Yom Kippur, as Rashi explained, because of the Gzeir Shava. Ubetaniyos, we use a bent, curved shofar. Kama the kaif inish daitet feimali. The more bent, the better. Rashi explains really the point of the Gemara is just that a tanis is dirabbanon, so we do it differently. We use a twisted shofar to show that it's only dirabbanon. Okay, so in conclusion, we actually have 3 shittas. Tanakama, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Levi. Tanakama says, Rosh HaShanna, straight shofar. And the Rishonim say, it's an expression of a straight heart, the tshuva, the purity that we're seeking to achieve, that true, pure connection with Hashem. Straight, smooth, uncomplicated. Yom Kippur as well, because of the Gzeir Shava, it's going to be Pashat. Taniyos, which is only D'Rabbanan, we want to show that chiluk, and we use a twisted shofar. He really does not hold that connection between Rosh HaShanna and Yom Kippur, and therefore he says, Rosh HaShanna I prefer a twisted shofar. Come with the kaif inch. The more twisted, the more submissive, the more bent a person appears, the better his tefillah is, the more heartfelt his Mesiras Nefesh is. On Yom Kippur, it symbolizes Cherus, flat, straight. Tanis we don't know in the Gemara, there's no discussion about that. Regarding Rabbi Levi, he goes with a kafaf for Rosh HaShanna and Yom Kippur. He follows Rabbi Yehuda, use bent, use twisted to express tefillah, Mesiras Nefesh, and Yom Kippur gets that as well because of the Gzeir Shava. As opposed to the Tanis, which is the Rabbanon, we create that heker, that differentiation, and we use a straight shofar. Okay, so what did we learn today? Technically, all shofaris can be used. What about a shofar para? Rabbanon say no. It's called a keren, not a shofar. Rabbi Yisrael says, what do you mean? It's called a keren and a shofar. We have another 2 reasons in the Gemara. Rabbanon say a para, as connected to the egel situation, in kategar nasas hanegar, to which Rabbi Yisrael responds by saying, well, it's not taking place in the Kodesh HaKadosh, and there's no concern. Whereas Rabbanon is saying, what do you mean? It's meant to bring out the zikaron of Yisrael to Hashem. That's considered like lifnim. Another reason for the Rabbanon's concern is because the shofar of the para presents itself in gildi, has these layers, these scales. It looks like a compilation of parts. Shtayim v'shleisha shofaris. Rabbi says, bottom line is, it's all connected, it's one entity. We're looking for the translation of Mshech B'Keren HaYovel. That Yovel indeed is a ram. That's why we got into the whole discussion of phrases and wordings and terminologies, and concluded with the story with Hashtech al Hashem Yahavcha, V'yichal Kalecha, the beautiful pshat of the Vilna Gaon. Just rely on Hashem, He'll look after you. And concluded regarding the shape of the shofar. Is it going to be straight, twisted? And we had various shittas. All the best to you and much atzlach.